Good midday, good midday, good mid. That's a good midday. We are just grateful for another moment, another chance, another persevering moment of discovering who we are in Christ as well as discovering our God through Christ. We are just overwhelmingly grateful for the privilege for you to be able to be a part of this moment of learning. So we want to say good Thursday, midday to each and every one of you. Our prayer is that the presence and power of the Lord are working in your life to an unbelievable magnitude. Kathy, Nancy, thank y'all so much for being with us, being here. One more. And for that, we are grateful to you, one and all. So as you come on in the room, we are thankful for you. We are thankful for all of you. Okay. And Sharon, Gina, Elder Pamela, Linda, how are you? How are you? How are you? We do the best we know how. And so, with that, we bless his holy and righteous name. Jamie, good to have you here with us on this wonderful day. Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. And so for that, we bless the Lord. Hi, Cora. How are you? You taking care of yourself? You know, I had to ask that. I couldn't help myself. Just double check. Tell Anthony we said hello. Denise, how you be? How it be? How are you? Just grateful for so many of you that are coming on to be with us. Minister Sarah, bless your heart for being a part of this learning moment. Iris, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay. Minister Faye, bless you for being here. Elder James, praying that you and family are doing well. Iris, good day to you. And so we are glad that you're here. Tom, good to have you on board with us today. Praying that you're staying out of trouble. Or if you are getting in trouble, make sure it's good trouble. I can't help. Valerie, how are you? Thank you. Tell Dad we said hello. And so we're grateful. Barbara Foos, good to have you here. Good to have you. Good to have you. What time? Much time? I got about another minute. And then we're going to jump into it. See if we can rattle some cages and get some people to really take a real good look at what life maybe is and what it should be. Okay. Tamika, bless your heart. Thank you so much for being here with us on today. Well, let me go ahead and get started, and we'll just keep it moving. Chaplain Hearns, bless you. The Lord blessed last night tremendously. Pastor Albert Baden, one of the sons of thunder out of the Maiden family, shared with us on last night. It was a tremendous experience. Stephanie, how are you? Sylvia Scott, bless you. Okay. I dealt with love. Timothy, bless you for being here. I dealt with how in many circumstances or how we grow up that we struggle with it. Sister Thomas, how are you? We struggle with it because maybe number one, we didn't understand it, we didn't comprehend it, or we had horrible examples of it. And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about mother, father, horrible. I'm talking about just sometimes relationships fall apart. Ella Mae, dear, how are you? Wendy, good to have you. And they taint us, they stain us, they cause us to not trust or put our trust in. Because we really don't know what love is, sometimes we go on these mad hunts and journeys into all kinds of things, and we actually think that physical interaction or even intense uh, sexual activity is love. We get involved with relationships that are toxic only because the enemy knows that we are vulnerable in that area. Since God is love, we were created to love and be loved. Ooh. But here's what I've learned: you can't give what you don't know. Many of us love is obsession and control. We claim to love somebody because of how much control we have over them, and then when we can't control them, then either they don't love us or we don't love them anymore. All of these bad marriages and bad relationships and bad family encounters are not by accident, they're intentional. Ooh, gosh. They're intentional. The enemy says, if I can get the wrong two people together, and just because they go to church doesn't mean that they love the Lord, and then I can get them to procreate. And after I do that, I'll tear the family apart, and not realizing that once I tear the family apart, they don't know that I actually rip the shreds of what love is all about, because now there's no level of commitment. And now we go to church. And we go to church, and church becomes a substitute. But the problem is, the substitutes are flawed. And so we need to understand. Hi, Sister Rains. How are you? I'm glad you had a chance to watch the service yesterday. It was an amazing time of bringing one of the maidens here to share with the congregation. Good midday, Carletta. We do all of this stuff, and we go in all of these mad searches, and we violate the word of God because we've been violated. And so what do? I go according to my own notions. And then here comes God in the midst of our madness. And Deuteronomy 6:5 says something that we all have struggled with. You shall love the Lord your God. Hmm. You know, the funny thing about it is, since it's personified, it's personal, but it is extremely difficult to love someone you don't trust. And the enemy knows that if I can put enough distrust in your life, you will also not trust God. And when you don't trust God, it leaves you in the most vulnerable situations that you could ever come in contact with. He says, but you got to love him. And here's the funny thing about it is, the writer says, Moses says, with all your heart. Now, it's hard to give God your heart when your heart is calloused, when your heart is full of pain and drama. Because if every or just about every human being that I've ever encountered has jacked me up, jacked me over, messed me over, and then God says, "Let me wrap my arms around you and let you," you're going to be skeptical of that. And here's what happens. Here's what happens. Because of a lack of love that we have toward God, then when situations come, we become frustrated with him, because now, since we can't manipulate him like we've manipulated other people, in the midst of that, now we get mad at him. And when we get mad at him, who else do we have? Because every other human being is flawed and failing. Oh, teach, Pastor. I know I'm knee deep up in this thing, because in order for me to love God with all my heart, I first of all have to have a heart that's willing to love. Which means what? I got to let some things go, lay aside every weight and every sin that does so easily beset us, and let us run this race. You can't run a race weighed down with a callous heart. And so this is what Moses is trying to get us to see. He says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Which means what? I need God to create within me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. Because if I don't do it, I will live so far beneath my privilege, it's unbelievable. And here's what we fail to understand. Because sometimes when we hear the words of living beneath our privilege, we hear money, we hear opportunity. But when you live beneath your privilege, you also live beneath the level of love that God operates in your life that should be shared with other people. You may be the one conduit that another wounded warrior on the battlefield of life could find you as a lifeline, because then you can share with them. I've been wounded, I've been scorned, I've been lied on, I've been cheated, I've been all of this stuff has happened to me. And there were times in my life when I felt like I wanted to kill myself, but God still loves me. Even when I went out and got me a bottle and got drunk as drunk can get, even when I turned around and did some stuff, even when I went and got me some weed or some crack or something, and I did all of this stuff because I need it. I need it. I need it. Hey, Ayana, I needed something to anesthetize the pain until he turned around and let me know that weeping only endures for a night, but my joy will show up in the morning. But in order for my joy to permeate itself into your existence, you've got to come to me and let me love you. Woo. And the one thing that I've learned, can't nobody love you like the Lord. Nobody will hold you. Nobody will keep you. Nobody will speak to you. Nobody will reassure you like the love of God. And in the midst of that, it should sensitize us. One of the reasons why many of us are not able to love God is because we're still not lovable ourselves. But if you ever get this breakthrough, if you ever realize that some people are not worth your joy or peace, when you ever, Sister Rains, come to the point that you understand that some relationships are just not worth my happiness, you'll break away and let God love on you like you ain't never been loved before. And here's what happens, Erica Forney. When you experience his love, excuse me, you will not allow your past to control your present or your future. You got to love him with everything you got. Because guess what? Can I tell y'all something? Can I tell y'all something? Can I tell you something? He loved you with everything he had. Well, I beg to differ. I don't see where the Lord has loved me. I don't see where the Lord has done anything for me. He is the only human being that went on a cross to die for us. He is the only one who was willing to shed his blood even when we were enemies against him. He's the only one that calls us friend. He's the only one who died on the cross and was buried. He's the only one. There's nobody else. There's nobody else. There's nobody else, Gil. There's not another human being that got up from the grave with all power in his hand. There's not another one. And because he has, we have. Because he is, we are. And I'm going to tell y'all something. There is not another person worth what God has given me to let anything or anybody take it away from me. That's why when I see dumb, foolish stuff, I just go on about my business. Because you know what? I can't waste my time with dumb stuff and dumb and foolish people. Life is too short to be miserable. I got to go. 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 I got to get up out of here. Listen, I'm going to come back to this because I'm feeling something in my spirit. And I believe that somebody's going to get set free, whether you're watching it live or whether you watch it later. Because you know what? It's time out for living in misery. It's time out for living beneath our. It's time out to be skeptical about everything and everybody. It's time out. So here's what you don't understand. We got to face him. And when we do, we have to explain why somebody else's foolishness was more important than his truth. Listen, I love y'all so much. Please enjoy this day. It's going to be a nice, warm day. Enjoy it. Because guess what? Time is filled with swift transition. There's a change coming. And we better make sure that we've enjoyed these good days because some crazy days are on the way. Listen, love you. Have a fantastic day. May God bless you. May he keep you is our prayer.